Welcome back, Book Talk lovers, to another episode of Dragons and Spaceships, your go-to podcast for all things trending on Book Talk, from romantasy and thrillers to cozy reads and unhinged plot twists. I'm your host, Brandi, and today's feature one is one of the most talked about sci-fi series making waves in both bookstores and on screens, The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. With its unique blend of action, humor, and introspect, this series has captivated readers worldwide. And now, with the upcoming Apple TV Plus adaptation premiering on May 16th, 2025, it's the perfect time to dive into the world of Murderbot. Before we get too far into Murderbot, let's go ahead and look at a trending book that is happening right now. One of the busiest thrillers of the summer is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. It was released on July 2nd, 2024. Set in 1975 at a summer camp, the story kicks off with the disappearance of 13-year-old Barbara Van Laar, echoing the unsolved disappearance of her older brother years earlier. It is a layered, atmospheric mystery about family secrets, class divides, and the haunting weight of the past. If you love slow burn suspense with a strong character work, this one is all over Book Talk for a reason. Go check it out. Okay, now let's get into the book. Let's talk about the standout character who doesn't want to talk to anyone, Murderbot. At its core, the Murderbot Diaries, beginning with All Systems Red, is a brilliant character study wrapped in a snarky, fast-paced sci-fi shell. It's short, it's sharp, and it has one of the most unforgettable narrators you'll ever meet. Our main character is a SEC unit, a security android designed to protect humans during hazardous missions on unfamiliar planets. It's part organic, part machine, and then owned by a mega corporation that funds and manages all space exploration contracts. And yes, you heard that right, owned. Except there's a twist. At the very beginning of the series, we learn that this particular SEC unit has hacked its own governor module. That means it's no longer under a corporate control and no one knows. It could go rogue at any moment. But instead of going on a murder spree, despite the name Murderbot, what does it do? Well, it downloads soap operas. Literally. Hours and hours of them. It becomes obsessed with the dramas and the interpersonal relationships of fictional humans, all while pretending to be just another emotionless bot on contract. So let's talk about what kind of happens without any spoilers. In All Systems Red, Murderbot is assigned to a group of scientists on an exploratory mission to a remote planet. The mission seems routine until strange accidents begin to occur. Equipment malfunctions, data vanishes, people go missing, and through it all, Murderbot has to make a choice. Stay in the background, keeping up the illusion of being a regular corporate tool, or step in to protect the humans it secretly cares about, even if that means revealing just how autonomous it really is. But don't be fooled. This isn't your typical save-the-day hero arc. Murderbot doesn't want to be the hero. It doesn't even want to interact with people. It would rather be left alone to finish watching its media queue. But the universe, not so considerate. If you love character-driven fiction, this is where the series absolutely shines. Murderbot is sarcastic, it's awkward, it hates eye contact, it overthinks everything. It's basically a socially anxious introvert in an armor-plated body who has no interest in being emotionally vulnerable. But here's the genius of it. Despite technically not being human, Murderbot is more relatable than half of the protagonists out there. It questions its purpose, it panics when it's the center of attention, it struggles with feeling like an outsider, and it slowly begins to grapple with whether it wants to be more than what it was made to be. It's a story about identity, autonomy, and emotional healing, but it's delivered with biting humor and zero sentimentality. Martha Wells keeps it tight. All Systems Red is under 200 pages, and every chapter moves with purpose. The tone is distinctively dry and deadpan. Murderbot's voice is sharp, often hilarious, and always a little emotionally stunted in the best way. If you are someone who struggles with overly technical or dense sci-fi, don't worry. Wells gives you just enough world building to feel immersive without overwhelming you with jargon. Instead of spending 5 pages explaining how the ship's engine works, she shows you how Murderbot avoids awkward human interaction at all costs while multitasking security protocols and watching soap operas on a separate feed. Let's talk about some of the themes. This series is sneakily deep. What does it mean to be free? Murderbot is technically liberated, but freedom doesn't magically solve everything. It has to decide what freedom actually looks like for someone who's never had choices. Can something artificial have a soul? It's never asked directly, but every scene pokes at this question. The series doesn't preach, it just shows you what it feels like to be a person, even if you're not sure you are one. What do we owe each other? There's reluctant loyalty that grows in Murderbot, not because it's programmed to protect people, but because it starts to choose to. And that shift, that's where the emotional resonance really hits. So far, there are 7 books in the Murderbot Diaries series, including novellas and full-length novels, with All Systems Red being the entry point. The later books expand the world, introduce new characters, and raise the stakes both externally and internally for Murderbot. But even if you just read book 1, you're still in for a fully satisfying arc with its own beginning, middle, and end. Let's talk about why you should read this book. It's bingeable. You can finish book 1 in 1 or 2 sittings. It's hilarious in a low-key, emotionally repressed way. It explores deep ideas without being heavy-handed, and it gives us one of the most lovable, reluctant protagonists in modern sci-fi. Murderbot is the introvert, the antihero, the reluctant protector, and the emotional support robot we didn't know we needed. If you ever wanted a book that blends action, sarcasm, anxiety, media obsession, and just enough emotional depth to hit you in the chest, All Systems Red is it. Now let's talk about some book news out there. Taylor Jenkins Reid, the acclaimed author of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, is set to release her latest novel, Atmosphere, a love story, on June 3rd, 2025. Set against the backdrop of NASA's 1980 space shuttle program, the story follows Joan Goodwin, an astrophysics professor who embarks on astronaut training at Houston's Johnson Space Center. As Joan prepares for her first mission, she discovers a passion and love that challenges her understanding of her place in the universe. Reid's meticulous research into the astronaut life and the space shuttle program lends authenticity to the emotionally charged narrative. Atmosphere promises to be a soaring tale of love and ambition and capturing the extraordinary lengths we go to live and love beyond our limits. With its compelling characters and richly detailed setting, Atmosphere is poised to be one of the standout releases of the year. Fans of Reid's previous works and newcomers alike should mark their calendars for this exciting launch. Let's go ahead and jump into our listener Q&A. Happily Ever After, please, asks, in Funny Story by Emily Henry, did you feel like the fake dating trope actually worked, or did it feel more like a setup for forced proximity? That's such a good question because Funny Story definitely flirts with multiple tropes at once. I'd say the fake dating element in this book isn't an overt or theatrical as in some other romances. It's often more of a soft situational version of the trope. It grows out of convenience and shared pain rather than dramatic let's pretend to be a couple agreement with the rules and all of that. So yes, it's technically fits the fake dating category, but I think it functions more as a vehicle to explore healing through connection and learning to let go of our old identities. It's messy, believable, and honestly a little quieter than other fake dating setups. But it still hits because of how emotionally grounded it is. Also, let's be real, we weren't reading for the trope, we were reading for Miles. Well, that's it for today's episode of Dragons and Spaceships. The Murderbot Diaries offers a refreshing take on sci-fi, blending action, humor, and profound introspection. With the upcoming Apple Plus TV adaptation, there's no better time than to dive into this compelling series. Don't forget to comment or DM your bookish questions for a chance to be featured in next week's episode. Follow the show, share it with your fellow sci-fi enthusiasts, and as always, until next time, happy reading, stay curious, and may your TBR pile never stop growing.